It's really a great pleasure to be here among you today, to such a distinguished and young audience. And I adore to speak to young people because you are the future of the world. You are the future leaders. So indeed it's a pleasure. But today I'm here because Lithuania, as Madam Chair rightly pointed out, is presiding the European Union Council. Of course it is a challenge for a small country. But we in Lithuania, we say that small is beautiful. And apart from that, indeed, we seek for compromises, as Luxembourg did when Luxembourg presided the European Union on a few occasions. So seeking for compromises, perhaps, and honest deal-broking, some features that are particular to smaller countries' presidencies. But today, let me speak about culture and art and audiovisual. This is your topic of discussion. And let me outline what we are doing in Presidency in general and in this particular spheres. So indeed, it is the first time that Lithuania, my country, has taken up the presidency of the European Union. It's a challenge. It is also an opportunity for us to contribute a more united, stronger, and competitive Europe, which we think is the best way to go. So over the next 4 months that remain to our presidency, this is till the end of December, our main focus will be constructive discussions with the European Union institutions as well as member states, United Kingdom of course included. So what we try to achieve is a smooth process of legislative process, and honest and impartial broker with the involvement of all the possible stakeholders. We think that only working together we can achieve important results. So I also would like to take this opportunity to thank our Irish colleagues. Irish presidency was just before the first half of this year. They also made a huge work contributing to EU new generation programs for cultural and audiovisual sectors. And they achieved very impressive projects. So thank you Irish colleagues, and we hope that Greek colleagues, and you know that Greece is taking presidency after us from the January 2014, will continue what we have done. So in general, the priorities of the Lithuanian presidency is a greater focus on EU economy, growth and jobs, single market, financial stability, something that is important to everybody, to all of us, to all EU countries and citizens. We say that our motto is a credible, growing and open Europe, which is a beautiful motto, isn't it? So what are the role of culture and creativity in this credible, growing and open Europe? In fact, what I would like to do today is to highlight the role of the creative sector in ensuring smart, sustainable and inclusive growth. That is how creative sector, audiovisual, culture play a role in economy, in all our countries' economies. So finally, we should stop thinking of culture as an absorber of resources, something that is the myth going on for many, many years, absorber of resources. And the governments are not very keen to spend on culture. And when the crisis arrives, it is the first cultural programs that are being cut. Have you heard of it before? I had many times. So we should change our thinking, our mindset, and think of culture and creativity as a role to develop more cohesive, more sustainable, and more happy society. How can it be made? We do believe that participation in cultural programs, cultural projects, gives individuals the opportunity to express themselves, nurture the ability to express and to accept others' difference, as well as to develop necessary social skills. So we may say, as a conclusion, that culture is the basis of the present diversity, communality, and our identity, both on national level and on European level. So we may say also that culture-based creativity is the engine of our present-day economy, with the cultural and creative industries growing faster and more stable. Again, we speak here about cultural industries, yeah? Something which is new, something which did not exist decades ago. I may say that this sector of economy, cultural industries, they create more than 7 million jobs in the European Union, 7 million jobs. So here you see the link with economy, very, very transparent, yeah? And the input of cultural and creative industries to economy today constitutes up to 5% of GDP. And in some countries, like for example in the UK, it's even 6% of GDP. So again, a very tangible link with the economic and financial situation. So what is going on a European Union level is there are discussions in various EU bodies, EU Council and EU Parliament, of how to ensure the long-term strategy at EU level to continue to facilitate the development of these creative sectors. And of course, how to ensure that they have also proper financial instruments to be able to develop. European Parliament recently adopted a resolution about cultural and creative industries, and also about the proper financial mechanism. So apart from that, there are a few other initiatives that will be important during this remaining 4 months. So let me say a few words about them. So first of all, there is a important decision to establish a new union action, the so-called union action for the European capitals of culture. So I would say that this initiative perhaps is one of the most known within the EU, because capitals of culture is something that citizens know. Yeah? When a city, a town in your country is a capital of culture, so everybody talks about the city. There are usually a variety of cultural events going on, a lot of tourists coming. So again, the development and the input to economy, input to business is very tangible. Yeah. So this new initiative, Union Action for Capitals of Culture, is now being discussed in the Council of Ministers of Culture, and well, we think that it will come to an end by the end of this year, because there are now 2 new countries in line, Ireland and Croatia, that should participate in these capitals of culture. So they need to take all the necessary procedures to launch the project in respectively Ireland and Croatia. One more important initiative. This is called the Creative Europe program, which is supporting cultural and creative sectors. Yeah? And the Europe for Citizens program, which promotes European citizenship and, of course, preserving the remembrance of common European history. Again, 2 different things, but rather important. In fact, concerning the progress achieved on the Europe for Citizens program, we do foresee that this is a very important program. You know, again, we are talking on governmental level that, well, how to present European Union as acceptable to citizens. What is the problem that sometimes European citizens and European governments cannot hear each other, cannot understand each other? So this year is the year of European citizens, and that is why we're talking about citizens' participation in governance, how citizens' voice could be heard by their governments and by European institutions like European Parliament, for example, how citizens could present their initiatives, yeah? And who will take care of their initiatives to be proceeded and eventually implemented. So this is what the Europe for Citizens program is about. Again, we are talking about more prosaic things, budgets, and then when it comes to budgets, when the budgets are always low, they're always not sufficient, they're being cut. But even having a rather small budget with a creative interpretation of that budget, people can achieve things. One more initiative during our presidency will deal with cultural objects, and in particular, cultural objects which are unlawfully removed from the territory of the member states. This is a topic which has been on board since 1993. 1993, when the internal frontiers of European Union were abolished. Yeah? The cultural objects, as all goods, started to move around. Nobody really took control, the border control, as there was no border control, no customs control within the European Union. Yeah? So also the cultural objects which were classified in their countries and as national treasures, they began to move around. So again, there is a directive, a EU directive on this subject, and the analysis, the assessment of this directive showed that the directive is very limited, and very limited means that there is no input, in fact. So the idea again is to rethink this directive and in a way to seek to reconcile the fundamental principle of free movement, because it's fundamental. We cannot, in principle, restrict free movement of goods, yeah? And the need to effectively protect national treasures. So again, we started discussions. Different member states have different opinions, and it's not that easy to achieve a sort of united decision, but still we believe that this is important and we should proceed. What is inside the directive? So again, it's to reinforce the cooperation between member states at the administrative level, and it means to exchange information about cultural values, cultural heritage, yeah? To use internal market information system for that purpose, and then to make these cultural treasures, cultural heritage movements more controlled, even within the EU territory. Well, last but not least, audiovisual sector. Audiovisual sector, which is now very much in fashion. Everybody talks about audiovisual. It's something new. It's something very, very attractive. Yeah. So. With all the technological developments, you know that the audiovisual media landscape is changing so quickly. So again, during the presidency, we will make special emphasis on the development of the Connect TV and to the merger of traditional broadcast services with the internet. Yeah? Connect TV, which means that TV set and internet and computer are merged into one. So again, under these new conditions of audiovisual sectors, we think that what is important, it's still important to maintain media pluralism and freedom under these conditions. Yeah, media pluralism, it remains a topic of discussion, again with all the possibilities to interactive exchange of opinions, and then the control. Should there be any control? If yes, to what extent? Yeah. So again, we think that we need a sort of more coordinated action on this topic on EU level, and EU cultural ministers will gather in Vilnius, in my capital, on 2nd October to discuss specifically this topic. Yeah, perhaps one more thing. Speaking about digital environment, yeah, the digital environment is something which could be put into use, into very practical use in traditional schemes, like for example libraries, yeah, We still remember libraries, huge rooms full of books. Usually it's very quiet, calm here. You come, you take the book, you read the book in the library, yeah? This is not the picture anymore. It's all, we are going to a digital library, yeah, to virtual library. And we would say one of the most successful examples of such digital libraries is called, maybe you know, it's Europeana, a virtual European digital library, yeah? And again, what is important that member states and governmental level and NGOs and citizens, public in general, will cooperate in creating a better Europeana, a better library, yeah? And also it enables to broadcast the digitalized cultural heritage. That is, all cultural heritage is being put into computer, yeah, and then it is accessible to much more greater public than a normal traditional library. And again, it is important because this exchange of cultural diversity is important for our citizens. It's important for promotion of European values as well, and for, of course, for maintaining, for preserving cultural heritage. So again, we are ready to initiate discussions concerning the challenges for the distribution of the digital content, yeah? And part of it is digital content in films, yeah, in movies, yeah? And again, one of the key issues in this area is the digitization of films, and cinemas, and online distribution of films using, again, various platforms like mobile devices, like smart TV, yeah? So there are two things. Again, digitized films enables people to access on their smart devices, yeah? And again, it helps to preserve and archive materials, yeah? Preservation and archives is also important here. And it's also a certain promotion of European cinema and European film industry, among other things. Yeah? So these are the outlines of what we are doing now in cultural and audiovisual, what we shall be doing another 4 months till January. Of course, it does not mean that after January everything will stop. There will be a certain continuation on these programs. We believe that these programs are important, they're meaningful, and we are ready to continue them. But before I finish, let me say that during our presidency here in the UK, we're doing a lot of cultural events, a lot of concerts, exhibitions, art exhibition, design exhibition, architectural exhibition, whatever. Jazz, a lot of jazz. Lithuanians love jazz, so a lot of jazz singers will be coming here in London, in Edinburgh, Cardiff, Glasgow, and we'll be doing a lot of concerts. So please visit our website. It's uk.mfa.lt, Lithuania, yeah? And be in touch with us whenever you want. I invite you all, come, feel at home in our events, and I will be most happy to congratulate you there. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you.